is over. Brian Radke with a shutout for career win number 100.
On September 6, 2002, the Oakland A's historic 20-game winning streak was ended by the Minnesota Twins and starter Brad Radke. Not only did he throw a complete game shutout, this was the 100th win of his career. Funny enough, his career record heading into this game was 99 and 99. This was partly why Radke was such an underrated pitcher, as he pitched in an era where wins were still vital in the evaluation of pitchers. For the first half of his career, he pitched for a team that not only averaged over 90 losses per season, but nearly ceased to exist in 2001. Nonetheless, Radke always left everything he had on the field, a mentality he possessed through the final game of his career.
Getting a lot of handshakes as he went down the dugout steps. I think you're seeing the traces of a tear in his eyes. His career is over.
However, to fully appreciate this moment, we need to understand Radke's journey. Real quick, I want to thank this comment for suggesting Radke as a topic, and if you have any underrated player or team hero you want me to cover next, leave their name down in the comments.
The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it. It's a 1-0 10-inning victory.
In 1991, the Twins won what some consider the greatest World Series ever. Pretty impressive for a team that was 14 games under 500 a year prior, a record that gave them the number 3 overall pick in the 1991 draft. The Twins made some recognizable picks in the later rounds, but none were as impactful as their 8th round selection, a high school pitcher named Brad Radke. While he didn't possess any high velocity stuff, his competitiveness and pitchability was enough to leave an impression on former Twins scout Jeff Schugel. Radke was drafted into an organization with 2 championships in 5 years, but they were on a downward spiral. By the time he was called up in 1995, the Twins were a sub-500 team whose attendance numbers had drastically fallen. Plus, he didn't exactly have the best first impression in his rookie year. The next year, in 1996, Radke improved massively by increasing the number of strikeouts and allowing less hits and runs. Also, with a 1.14 ERA+, this meant his ERA was 14% above the league average of 100. However, Radke's home run troubles needed to be addressed in order to fully take that next step. Well, in 1997, not only did he lower this number, his name was gaining national attention. On August 4th, 1997, Radke won his 12th start in a row, becoming just the 3rd player since 1950 to accomplish this. In the span of a year, he had gone from a promising young starter with the habit of giving up too many home runs to an unbeatable ace. Not only that, he ended the season with a 20-win record, one of only 4 20-game winners in 1997. With pitcher wins still being a vital aspect of a pitcher's performance, Radke had received immense respect from the rest of the league. Now, we can see he didn't dominate at the level of his 20-win peers, but he actually had something in common with American League Cy Young Roger Clemens. Despite being 20-game winners, both of these guys played on sub-500 teams. Among the 70 pitchers who've won 20 games in a season since 1997, only 4 of them played on a sub-500 team throughout their entire season. Before we move on, there's 2 performances I want to highlight, as these games rank in the top 5 of Radke's career game scores. First, on July 20th, where he not only threw his 2nd career shutout, but his 2nd career game with double-digit strikeouts, something he did only 4 times in his career. The 2nd performance took place on September 21st, where he pitched 10 innings to win his 20th game, the only player to do so in 1997. Overall, it was a remarkable year for Radke, and it set the stage for his prime years. Between 1997 and 2001, Radke was as consistent as you can get. 5 straight seasons with an ERA plus over 110 and at least 4 WAR, meaning his ERA was consistently 10% above league average, and he was worth at least 4 wins above a replacement level player. In total, only 4 qualified pitchers can say they did the same in this 5-year span. Plus, this wasn't just any 5-year span. This was the heart of the steroid era. Now, Radke wasn't as dominant as the others. Ultimately, what allowed him to thrive was his incredible command, consistent mechanics, and mastery of the changeup. According to Radke, the key for a changeup pitcher is to make it look exactly like a fastball. The hitter has to have no idea the changeup is coming until they're already halfway through their swing. Despite having this unique pitching style, Radke's quiet demeanor, lack of overwhelming velocity, and playing for a losing team in a small market kept him from gaining national recognition. In 1999, Radke's 1.35 ERA plus placed in the top 10. However, as the only player here with a losing record, he didn't receive an All-Star spot nor Cy Young vote that season. In fact, when the Red Sox were interested in trading for Radke in 2000, they weren't willing to trade two of their top prospects, as one team official said, "Check out his lifetime record." Still, any team would have loved to have Radke in their rotation, and he had the opportunity to leave after the 2000 season. Shockingly, he decided to stay as there was a young core being built with guys such as Torrey Hunter, AJ Pierzynski, Jock Jones, and Michael Kadire. While they didn't make the playoffs in 2001, they were finally heading in the right direction. But there were also fears that this team wouldn't be around for much longer. After the 2001 season, in a 28-2 vote among league owners, the league approved a contraction plan to remove two teams from the league, with the Minnesota Twins and Montreal Expos being the most likely candidates. This is a complicated story that ranges from stadium concerns to low attendance to the league's financial issues and the ongoing fight between the owners and players union ahead of the impending CBA negotiations. Fortunately, a week later, Hennepin County District Judge Harry Seymour Crump issued a temporary restraining order that forced the Twins to honor their lease to play at the Metrodome for the 2002 season. In the midst of all this, Radke had another opportunity to leave. When he signed his extension, it had a clause where, if enacted, Radke must be traded ahead of the 2002 season. In the end, he decided to stay, saying he hoped the decision could help the Twins stay in Minnesota, and he wanted to continue building upon the upward trajectory the team was on. Ultimately, it worked out for everyone.
And the 0-2 delivery. Ground ball hit to second. This should do it. Here's Hocking to Minkevich, and the Twins win. They clinch a tie for the Central Division title.
With the Twins making the playoffs for the first time in over a decade, Brad Radke was set to start Game 1 of the ALDS against the 103-win Oakland A's, the team Radke conquered a month earlier. Well, this time around, it didn't start off very well.
Meanwhile, the Oakland Athletics have had 5 runs handed to them by the Minnesota Twins.
First inning struggles weren't anything new for Radke, but none of the 3 runs the A's scored were earned. Multiple errors allowed the A's to score 5 runs in the first 2 innings, and only one of them was charged to Radke. Walking into the dugout after the second inning, the usually mild-mannered Radke was furious. AJ Pierzynski said Radke never got mad, but after all those errors, he just came in and started screaming at everyone. Wait a minute, Brad is mad? We must have really screwed something up. Look at it like this. Radke finally had the opportunity to start a playoff game after spending years on sub-500 teams, only for his teammates to let him down. I'd be pretty upset too. Well, Radke, being the intense competitor he was, retired 10 of the final 13 batters he faced and left after 5 innings pitched. The Twins were down 2 runs when he departed, but not only did they stage an incredible comeback to win 7-5, they shocked the baseball world by winning the series in 5 games, with Radke himself pitching a terrific Game 5. While the Twins ended up losing in the ALCS, this team was set to compete for many years to come. Unfortunately, their playoff dreams were crushed by the Yankees for the next 2 years. But Radke continued performing well and ended up signing a 2-year deal following a fantastic 2004 season. Although the end was on the horizon. Radke had a solid 2005 season, but he skipped his final few starts of the year due to unbearable shoulder pain, which was later found out to be a torn labrum, an injury some people label as a pitcher's worst nightmare. Instead of opting for immediate surgery, Radke decided he'd retire after the 2006 season. This meant he was living in constant pain, which noticeably affected his first 10 starts. But eventually, he not only settled in, he was pitching better than ever. The last time he had a 17-start streak with an ERA of 2.85 or less was back in 1998. Unfortunately, despite taking multiple cortisone shots throughout the season, Radke couldn't circumvent the pain. He actively avoided using his right arm as any sudden movement could cause excruciating pain. So how was he able to pitch? I guess it's adrenaline, Radke said. And what we're going through here, fighting for a playoff spot. I'm doing everything I can. By the end of August, Radke's fastball was barely touching 80 miles per hour. That's when he was shut down, and further testing revealed he was also dealing with a rare type of stress fracture in his shoulder. With all of this going on, the Twins' rotation was already depleted. However, not only did they battle their way into clinching a playoff spot, they had the opportunity to win the division as well. Radke vowed to return before the end of the season, and on September 28th, that's what he did. He was only able to throw 57 pitches, but he pitched 5 innings and allowed 0 earned runs. The Twins won this game following a 9th-inning game-tying home run by Joe Mauer and a walk-off extra-inning single by Jason Bartlett. After a Game 162 win a few days later, the Twins were the champions of the American League Central. Now, Radke had the opportunity to pitch in one final postseason and leave everything he had on the field.
In an elimination game today, Minnesota going with Brad Radke, Rick Sutcliffe, and here's a guy whose shoulder is so torn up, he probably shouldn't even be pitching right now, let alone in such a big game.
Unfortunately, not all stories have fairy tale endings.
He fires, popped up, there's Peyton, and the Oakland Athletics have swept the Minnesota Twins.
4 years to the day Radke and the Twins eliminated Oakland back in 2002, the A's swept the Twins. Just like that, Radke's career was over. But what a career it was. In 12 seasons, he crafted a legacy as one of the most unique and underrated pitchers of the steroid era. Since the start of the integration era in 1947, Radke is one of only 14 pitchers to have accumulated at least 45 B-WAR in their career, while also allowing less than 2 walks per 9 innings. The only player from this list that's currently in the league is future Hall of Famer Zack Greinke. Objectively, Radke's career isn't Hall of Fame worthy, but perhaps his pitching style would have been further appreciated if he played in today's era of high velocity and analytics. Nonetheless, he's a Minnesota Twins legend who played the first half of his career through a turbulent era of uncertainty and many losing seasons. He had multiple opportunities to leave the team, but not only did he stay, you could always count on him to give it his all in every single outing. To end the video, I'll leave you with a quote from columnist Jim Maloney. In Minnesota, there were always 2 things you could count on each year: ice fishing in the winter and quality starts by Radke in the summer. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe to Start Raving Sports, check out my channel SportStorm, and leave your team hero you'd like me to cover in the comments. Thanks for watching.